Hey guys, so it is that time again to go over all of the books that I read for the previous month, and I can't even believe that it's already June. The year is basically halfway over, and I feel like I just scratched the surface of my reading goals. Yikes. But without further ado, let's go over all of the books that I read for the month of May. So, the first book that I read in May is Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. Now, this book follows a girl who has a lot of jobs, but one of the jobs is being like a cleaner for like a luxury apartment place. And she is squatting at this place, and she runs into the parents of like the owner of the apartment that she's in, and the parents mistake her for the girlfriend of this place. And so she's basically coerced into playing this man's girlfriend. So it's a fake dating book. And it was cute. I loved the banter. And the MMC, he falls first. He's like a kind of like a golden retriever towards the end. And I mean, he's a douchebag in the beginning, but he comes around. My biggest issue with this book is the miscommunication of it all. Oh my gosh, there's so much miscommunication. And if you know me, you know I hate miscommunication. I hate it so much. So yeah, there was a lot of miscommunication in this book, and I was just not having a good time, especially towards the end. But there was a lot of good banter. It's a really cute, quintessential rom-com-y book. Yeah, very much Lynn Painter. So if you like Lynn Painter books, you'll probably like this book. But if you don't like miscommunication trope, it does lean heavily on that trope. So there is that. I did give this book 3.75 stars. Take that with what you will. All right, so this next set of books is a series, and since it's the continuation of the same story, I'm just going to talk about it as a whole. So the books are the Veiled Kingdom, The Hunted Heir, and The Rivaled Crown by Holly Renee. Now, this one was good, but just for vibes. So this one follows a girl who is a princess of the kingdom. She is kind of on the run. So her father is the king, and he's not a good guy. He's a tyrant of sorts. And she has fled from his tyranny, and she's been on the run ever since, just kind of trying to escape this kingdom. But she has fallen kind of in the hands of the rebellion, but they don't really know who she is, so she's still kind of undercover. So she's kind of fallen into the rebellion against the kingdom itself. So that's kind of like the general premise of at least the first book. Now, I love this book because it's so fast paced. So I was eating it up, and I love the characters. The MMC and FMC words are very high chemistry, very tension filled. I loved that. My biggest issue with this book is the lack of world building and the no magic explanation. Very lacking, very lacking. It made things very confusing, especially towards the end of the series when there's so much like training going on with the inclusion of the magic, because there is no explanation really of how the magic works, what the magic entails, really nothing. So yeah, it gets really confusing with the magic. So you're really just there for vibes. If you're looking for something that is like very fantasy based, you're looking to get lost in a whole new world, this is not the series for you. But I really did love just the character driven portion of this, the romance portion of this. This is very much a vibes book. Very much a vibes book, but I like the vibes. I liked the vibes, and I was eating this up. I finished the series pretty quickly. I'd say like within a few days, because it was very, very, very fast paced. I gave the first book 4 stars, second book 4 stars, third book 3.5 stars, because again, there was no foundation when it came to the magic, and this is when the magic was really much needed, because it was the big battle. It was the demise of the monarchy, and yeah, there was nothing to build off of for the magic. So that's when it really crumbled. So yeah. Okay, so this next series, I reread a good majority of these books to get ready for the newest release. And yeah, so this series is the Beast of the Briar series. I reread Bonded by Thorns, Woven by Gold, Forged by Malice, and Broken by Daylight to get to Frozen by Stardust. And this series is honestly just so god tier. I love this series to my very bones. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so I really don't feel like I have to dive too far into the premise of the story because everyone should know the general premise of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Yeah, this is a reverse harem, so instead of one prince, there's four. Yeah, that's it. The magic in here is fantastic. Coming from the previous book series where I'm like, the magic is not magicking. This one, oh my gosh, the world building is fantastic. The MMCs, though they can infuriate me to no end, oh my gosh, the character development is fantastic. There's a prince in here that I absolutely can't stand in the first few books, but by the newest one here, he's my second favorite because the character development is wow. Literally wow. Yeah, I have no problems with this series. I mean, the characters, like I said, there's a roller coaster. You never know where the characters are going to go. The development is like I can't even express. Words cannot express the character development because whoa. The series is action packed. Action packed. The magic is magicking. Yeah, I'm honestly speechless. So yeah, there's an MMC in here because there are a grand total of 5 MMCs in here, and one of the MMCs is a villain, and he's my favorite. He's great. But the MMCs in here, some of them are boyfriends to each other, so if that's your vibe, perfect. Yeah, I think you guys would really vibe with this. Is the reverse harem, so if that's your vibe, do it. Do it. It's Pride Month. This is perfect timing. Perfect timing. But yeah, I gave Bonded by Thorns 4.5 stars. I gave Woven by Gold 4.25 stars. I gave Forged by Malice 4 stars? No, 4 stars. And then I gave Broken by Daylight 5 stars, and I gave Frozen by Stardust 5 stars because it only really gets better. This one had me on my toes. This one, I think I was having heart palpitations for 500 of the 700 pages. That's how action-packed it was. I think the sisters Elizabeth and Helen, they put crack in these pages. They're so good. They're so good. I was locked in. I was locked in. Such a great series. Definitely pick it up. This series will be complete by October of this year. Book 6 comes out in July. Book 7 comes out in October. So if you guys start it now, you'll basically be ready to go by October because these are some thick books. So just read it. Just read it. Just read it. Okay, so the next books are also series. First book is Immortal Longings, and second book is Violet's Things by Chloe Gong. And the premise of this book is we have like a princess who wants down with the current monarchy, the current powers that are in place. She murdered her parents, who were the current powers in place. So she murdered her parents, and then the king, who is currently in power, she wants to kill him too. So in order to get close to him, she has to enter into this essentially game to the death and win. So if she wins, he, like, the king is the one who essentially congratulates the winner. So to get close to him, she has to win this game. So that's basically the premise of this book. The fun thing about this book is, like, there's like body switching. So they all have, well, some people have this ability to jump into other people's bodies with their chi. So their chi is like essentially who they are. It's like their soul, kind of. And so with their chi, they jump into another being. I thought that was a really unique premise, and I love that. I haven't seen body jumping in a book ever, so that was fun. My biggest issue with these books, again, is magic, is the magic explanation of it all. If we don't explain it in the beginning, I get very confused. And I'm the type of person who gets things really quickly. So that's, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I pick things up really quickly. So if things aren't explained well, that's not on me. That's not on me. So yeah, things were just, and things are thrown at you a lot. There's so many characters and so much going on in the beginning. It's overwhelming. So there's a lot to take on. And then the magic is not really explained, and the games aren't explained either. They're not explained. I know it's a game to the death, but the rules of the games not explained. I don't know what's going on in the games, so there's also that. But overall, I think by like the 50% mark, I was locked in, which it shouldn't take you that long to get into it, but yeah, because I was struggling. Before the 50% mark, I was contemplating just giving up on the book, on the first book. But after the 50% mark, I was enjoying myself enough. I liked the political intrigue, all of the moving parts. I liked the unwilling allies to lovers aspect of a couple of the characters, and I liked the betrayal of some of the characters as well. So yes, and I love this idea of body switching as well. Again, I think that's a unique element. The plot twists were plot twisting as well. I did not see some of the things coming. So yes, I did enjoy this book overall, and I think it was fun. But the magic, I always harp on the magic. If we do not explain it, it really will come back to bite the author in the long run. It will bite the story. It will not pan out in the long run if we do not lay down the foundation. Although I do think the world building is solid, I think we really need to harp on the magic. Anyways, I did enjoy this book enough to want to continue on to the second book, and I think this book is good, but we added a additional element to the magic, and when we don't create a good foundation for the magic in the first place, adding an additional element to which you do not explain that additional element very well, again, we're struggling. So I was very much confused again in this book. And then there was a lot of moving parts. The plot didn't really move very well in this book. It was a lot slower paced. But I still enjoyed the kind of political elements in this book. So there's that. And I did enjoy the plot twist in the end. So I'm very intrigued to see where the story goes in the third and final book. So I gave this book, what did I give this book? I gave this book 4.25 stars, and I gave this book 3.75 stars. I'm really hoping the third book kind of rounds everything out. Next up, I have A Girl Like Her by Talia Hibbert. Now, this follows a woman who's kind of been outcasted by her town because of a relationship gone wrong. The MMC in her relationship is kind of like part of a powerful family in the town. So she's been outcasted, her and basically her family. And then a new guy comes into town. He's kind of popular and he works for this powerful family, but he's like her neighbor, and they kind of hit it off. So that's kind of like the premise. And yeah, I wanted to like this more than I did, and it was just kind of slower paced. And like not a lot happened. Not a lot happened. They kind of spend time, like he like comes over to like bring her food, and they like don't have like a lot of deep conversation. They don't really do much, and I don't really feel a deep connection between the two characters. Not only that, when like the truth kind of comes out about the her past relationship, there's not really like any comeuppance for her ex. There's no comeuppance. We don't really see anything happen to him, nor does the town like really apologize or anything. I would like to see something happen. Um, yeah, something happen to like clear her name or something. I don't know, but yeah, nothing really happened, and I was kind of like upset. No comeuppance. No comeuppance. I wanted more. I wanted more. But I got nothing. Maybe something will happen because this is just the first book in a standalone series. So maybe like in the next books things will happen. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel the need to continue this series. So I don't really care for the other characters. So yeah, yeah. Anyways, I gave this book 3.25 stars. So yeah, yeah. Yeah. Next up, I have And Now Back to You by B.K. Borson, which is the second book in the First Time Caller series. Well, it's Heartstring series, but it's the second book. It's a sequel. And it follows Jackson, who is the weather guy on the radio station from First Time Caller, and then Delilah, who is like the weather girl at the news station, which is like they share a parking lot. But they actually have to work together to cover the snowstorm that is like bustling towards their town. And it's actually so cute because she's like super messy, like the bad luck charm, always running into things, dropping food, whatever, what have you. And he's like Mr. OCD, needs everything in its place. So it is a match made in hell, to be honest. But it's so cute how they come together. I love seeing Jackson in this light. He's like super protective, very, very thoughtful. He is the guardian of his two younger siblings. So seeing him in that light, swoon. But I really enjoyed their banter. I love seeing Jackson in a vulnerable place. However, I didn't love that he like kept requiring Delilah to show vulnerability before he could show vulnerability. That kind of irked me. I also didn't love that the side characters were used more as tools than actual characters in this book. That's like my biggest pet peeve. Another thing I didn't really love was like the big villain character in this book. His reason for being a villain was semi anticlimactic, in all honesty. And then I also still had questions by the end of this book. I hate having questions by the end of books, so yeah. So overall, it was okay. I did enjoy First Time Caller more than I enjoyed this book, but I did love Jackson more than I loved Aiden from First Time Caller. But I gave this book 4.25 stars. It was still a good time. Yeah. Next up, I have Pieces of the Night by Jennifer Hartman. Now, this book, I'm just going to give you like the bare bones here. So, because I think you should go in, for the most part, kind of blind. So, we have a woman who is in a long-standing relationship with like her childhood best friend, and then after an accidental kidnapping, forms a kind of camaraderie. Wow, can I speak? Camaraderie with a man who loves music, and that kind of forms a sort of push and pull of love and loss. That's all I'm gonna give you. That's all I'm going to give you. And I love this book so much. It really pulls on the thoughts of, should I stay with someone just because they're close to me, they know everything about me, even if maybe they're not like the best for me, like that kind of idea. Like, the vulnerabilities of the FMC and the push and pull of what's best and what's good for you. Like, what's the best thing you can do for you and what your worth is really, uh, like I was screaming at this FMC like midnight. I was like, what are you doing, girl? Literally, what, why? Literally, why? I haven't, well, not never, I haven't yelled at a book in a long time, but I was yelling at her. She was making some moves, but I was like, I get it, trauma, but she was making me so mad. And not even just her, the MMC in this book, he had his own insecurities, his own vulnerabilities that he had to work through, and I was working through with him too. With him too. Uh, it was just a lot of emotional roller coaster to ride on, and yeah, the pacing in here was fantastic. I was locked in from literally the moment I started this book, and I knew from the very first page I was in for it. I was in for it. I literally had started it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not I literally had to close the book and I was like, "Oh my gosh. I'm going to need a moment." I was like, "Already, Jennifer." That's literally what I did. That's what I did. That's what I did. But anyways, I gave this book 5 stars if it wasn't obvious. It's fantastic. If you haven't picked up a Jennifer Hartman book, what are you doing? Pick this one up. Pick any of them up. They're all great. Go do it. Next up, I have Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins herself. We all know her. We all love her. We all like to give her our therapy bills. Yes, yes. Now, this book follows Haymitch. Haymitch is the mentor to the characters from Hunger Games, that is Katniss and Peeta. Now, this book is set 25 years before the events in the Hunger Games books. Now, this is Haymitch's Hunger Games. I already knew going in, because Haymitch is a raging alcoholic in the Hunger Games, that this book was not going to be a walk in the park. And as this is the quarter quell, which is the Hunger Games that had double the amount of tributes, that this was going to be brutal. And it was, in fact, brutal. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. I knew that Haymitch was going to be losing his loved ones because, of course, he is alone. He is alone by the Hunger Games books, so that was obvious. How he loses his loved ones, that was actually the most painful, and I did bawl my eyes out. So thank you, Suzanne. Thank you for that. But I think my biggest issue with this book is the rebellion. The rebellion, and really Haymitch itself, is because of how in your face the rebellion is with their rebellion. They are not subtle in the slightest bit, and they will throw at you, they throw, not even at you, at Snow himself, that they were being rebellious. Please, please, please be subtle about defying the Capitol. Please, because they are historically known to come for your loved ones. And it really irked me, it grinded my gears that they were not being inconspicuous, even slightly, about them defying the Capitol. And I was so worried every time that they were doing something that defied the Capitol. But you know who I did appreciate even more is Plutarch, because of his subtlety. We love Yas, Plutarch. I did love all the cameos in this book, and I got to know a little bit more about how they became the way they are when we see them in the Hunger Games books. Loved that. I did love how Suzanne Collins wrote this book, especially when she incorporated Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. I thought that was genius writing. Fantastic. I just loved everything about how this book was written. Yeah, hated how Haymitch was entered into the games. Hated how the games were. Just like personally, just hated everything. Like how everything turns out. Just like on a on a on like a on a like internal way. Just don't love how everything turned out. Um, more morally speaking. um, don't love the games. But yeah, it was a great book though, fantastically written, and I cannot wait to watch the movie. The trailer is beautiful, and I will be bawling my eyes out 1000%. I was bawling my eyes out reading the book. I will be wailing during the movie. So I don't think I'll be emotionally, mentally, physically prepared when I go see it in theaters. So there's that. I gave this book 5 stars, worth every star. But Suzanne, you will be hearing from my therapist. So next up, I have a series. It's The Monster and the Last Blood Match and The Captive and the First Blood Game by K.A. Lind. Now, the series is interesting. It's unique. So we have this woman who's run out of options as far as jobs goes. She can't find a job, which felt, but she doesn't have anything else to do. She can't afford like school or anything, so she's hit her last option, which is going into this big company which will blood test her and assign her to a vampire to basically be their blood bag. So she goes in, gets assigned to a vampire, and they'll pay her to be a vampire's blood donor to live with them and donate blood to them. And yeah, that is the premise of the book. I think what's unique about this book is that she, or they, the vampires as a whole, if you are a vampire, you have to drink the blood of whatever like blood type you were as a human. Like that's the blood type you need to drink in order to like maintain your faculties. So like if you were like A as like a human and you become A, so you have to drink A blood as a vampire. So you can't drink like AB. You'll like become ravenous and go like crazy. So yeah, I think that's like really unique take on like vampires. However, I don't like really much else because the FMC is such a stupid human. She makes so many risky mistakes. Like she's so naive, so trusting, and she just makes the stupidest moves. She knows things are dangerous. She knows like the people who are dangerous, yet she'll go out on her own. She just does, she doesn't use her brain. It's like she has no brain. And that's the most annoying thing. Like I can take stupid moves from men because like obviously, but like when a woman is stupid, can't. I literally cannot. So yeah. Also, the MMC in this book, he's attached. He's coupled. He's coupled up. But the FMC is like, dump her. And I'm like, man, ick. Hate it. So don't love that. So I'm not really a fan of this book, but it ended in a like cliffhanger. So it was interesting enough for me to continue. So the second book, beginning was tension filled, loved. Middle, we kind of fell off, but the ending was fun, plot twist, loved that, which brought me on to the third book, which I'm currently on, and I'm not really enjoying it because, again, the FMC is still making rough moves, and the pacing is still off. I think these books all have pacing issues. But anyways, I gave this book 3.25 stars, and I gave this book 3.75 stars. Third book, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. All right. But anyways, yeah, we'll see. Overall, I don't think this series is for me. Next up, I have Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. Now, this is about a dragon that kind of falls in between like a tear in the realm, and he needs to be able to bring all of the dragons in his realm to the human realm because his realm is like on the brink of destruction. And in order to do that, he needs to basically kill one human who he is semi-bonded with, and he needs to complete his bond with a human and kill this human. So that's basically the premise of this book. And yeah, overall it's an interesting story, but I again fell into this problem where the magic is very confusing, not really explained. We've hit a trend here. I don't know, but I was having issues. It's very convoluted. There is a plague that strikes the human realm, and it has something to do with the magic that creates like when they use too much magic, it makes them into like hungry monsters, which they're called starvelings. And I'm like, I don't really know what that means, because they didn't really dive really much into it. And yeah, and I wasn't the only one. I was looking through other reviews, and there was a good portion of people who were very confused. So that makes me feel vindicated on that one. So yeah, plus the world building is also a little like all over the place. And I felt the need to have to keep going back and forth between the glossary. And when I have to lean heavily on a glossary to feel even slightly like I know what's going on, I feel like that's bad writing, you know? Because I should feel comfortable enough to know, okay, this is I shouldn't have to lean on a glossary to know what's happening. I feel like that is that not fair? Like if I need to maybe okay, maybe that's I forgot, but if I have to keep going back and I feel like this is a freaking textbook. Why do I have to keep going back and forth on a glossary? All right, let me get off my soapbox. But overall, I think the story was unique. It was fun. But yeah, it was the magic and the world building that was just super convoluted and hard to really get past. If I took away the magic and got over that and just focused on the characters and their essential storyline, I was enjoying myself. If I was enjoying myself, I loved the MMC and the FMC. They were fun. I liked Everin. I loved Arcady. I liked Soren and Magnus, like all of the characters, POVs that we were in. I was enjoying them, having a great time. Yeah, loved them all. I liked the plot twist at the end. I loved the chemistry between the characters. It was a good time overall, but the magic, the fantasy elements, needs work. Needs work. I don't think I would have gotten through this book if it hadn't been for an audiobook, and blessed be that I had the physical copy to be able to look back at the glossary, because again, I was struggling. But there was also an issue for some people that I was looking through reviews, because it does go in between first, second, and third person in this book. It does. It doesn't bug me, but it did bug a lot of people. So if that bugs you, don't read this book. But I did enjoy this book overall once I got past the magic. As in, I didn't think about the magic because I literally could not. I could not figure it out. So I was like, you know what? We're not even going to think about it. If they mention the magic, over my head. Over my head. We're just not going to think about it. Once I got past that, we were having a great time. We're having a great time. So I gave this book 3.5 stars. And that's based solely on just the plot points. Nothing to do on the magic. Nothing to do on the magic. So, yeah. Yeah. Now, for May, I also read a couple of arcs. I read Dampira by Amy Penza, and I read Land of Wolf's Atonement by N.B. Wright. For Dampira, I think there was strong world building and also a strong start to the story, but I think the execution overall was not the greatest. I gave that book 3 stars. Now, for Land of Wolf's Atonement, I loved the first book, but the second book, I just needed more. But I think the pacing was really good still. It just, wasn't the best for me. I did still enjoy it, so I gave it 4 stars, but I just needed more. If you guys want a little bit more from those reviews, I do have my ARC reviews up on my Fable account, so if you wanted to check those out. I just don't want to say too much about those books since they are not out yet. I believe Dampira comes out in a couple weeks in June, and the Land of Wolves Atonement book comes out in July. So, yeah. All right, let's get into the stats. So I read 1 physical book, 9.5 audiobooks, and 9.5 e-reader books, which brings me to a whopping 20 books. And I literally don't know how I managed that. I must have put something in my water because I was on a binge read fest. I read so many books, and I'm gonna need to keep that up because your girl has some reading goals. I love to keep crushing it. Words. So love that for me. Need to keep it up. But moving on to my favorite read of the month of May, which was, to no one's surprise, Frozen by Stardust by Elizabeth Helen. Love that one. 10 toes down. So good. I love this book to my very bones. The way it ended hurt me so hard. I cannot wait for the 6th book to come out. I need that arc like yesterday. In fact, I'm putting it out into the universe. I'm getting that arc. I'm getting it. 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 So it's not even a question. I'm getting that arc. Moving on to my most anticipated read for the month of June. What better way to celebrate Pride Month than to read an MM romance, which is Hunt the Villain by Rena Kent. I'm really excited to get into this book because I've heard nothing but great things about this book. So I'm really excited to get into this book, and that's it. So let me know what you guys' favorite book and least favorite book of the month of May was, and yeah, until next time guys, read on, my bookish friends.